bringing in now Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in Ohio, Congressman Tim Ryan. Hey, Tim. Yeah.
Nice sweatshirt.
Listen, by the way,
I'm glad you dressed
I got
up
to tell you,
for
this
us.
guy knows how to run. I heard beforehand he was walking out and he had on a Michigan sweatshirt, and his staff said, "Why don't you?" No. Hey, Congressman, let me ask you a question. I'm just straightforward. If you lose this election, will you accept the results?
Oh, of course I will, but that's not what's going to happen. But to your point, you got to do what you got to do. Got to keep the country together.
Yeah. All right. So your race, I got to say, it is so strange. I look at polls, it's close. You look at your campaign, you've run a great campaign. I think most people think you've run, people I talk to think you've run one of the best campaigns in America this year, if not the best, along with Josh Shapiro for a Democrat. Of course, it's not saying a whole lot the way Democrats have been running this year, but you've run a great campaign. And yet, the National Party, I just don't ever hear about it. It's always an afterthought. Oh, yeah, we're worried about Georgia and Pennsylvania. But I don't get it. Are some people going to be shocked on Wednesday morning?
It's going to be the beauty of the win. You know, you had the National Democrats who have a long-standing record of not having a great strategy, not making the investments needed to ignore this race, and we win. And we're going to win because we have a lot of support from organized labor that understands what's going on the ground here in Ohio. We've got donations from all 88 counties. We have 425,000 donors from across the country who understand we have a real chance to win this thing. And I'm telling you, on the ground, and Joe, you've done this yourself, there's the polls, and then there's what you hear on the ground. You go to rural Ohio, where Donald Trump would have had a sign every 50 feet. There's a J.D. Vance sign every 10 miles. We're in these counties. We have Republican crossover support. We have the building and construction trades. Their rank and file folks are coming our way in droves. Like, this is going to be a shocker only to those people who live in the echo chamber in Washington, D.C.
Congressman, you know I'm a Michigan guy. I'll excuse the sweatshirt as long as the game turns out the right way this year. But what are your conversations like with the DNC, with National Democrats, when you point out that, look, I'm beating this guy, I could use a little money, and you haven't gotten the funds and support that really would definitively put you over the top. What are those conversations like?
I haven't had one of these conversations in the last few months. Like, I'm not going to sit here and beg somebody to be able to see what's happening here on the ground. I'm just not going to do it. We have our supporters. Like I said, organized labor's been huge here. We've got our low-dollar donors, and anybody that wants to come and chip in, timforoh.com, if they want to be a part of Shocking the World. Like, we have our team. We show up in Portsmouth, Ohio on a Tuesday at noon, and there are 60, 70, 80 people there. If you'd have done that 5 or 10 years ago in Portsmouth, Ohio, right down along the Ohio River, you could have had the meeting in a phone booth. And we are bringing back the old school Democrats who like the fact that I'm focused on the economic issues, that we're not focused on the culture wars, that we're talking about manufacturing and building things again, and trade and the economic instability in these regions, that we want to reinvest back into those communities. And we've been doing it for 18 months. These people, look at our family dog has been in Lima, Ohio more times than J.D. Vance has. Okay? That's how hard we've been campaigning over the last 18 months. It's our oldest son's German Shepherd.
Aww.
And he's honest to God, this is like he's been in Lima, Ohio more than J.D. Vance.
Okay. Dog's name?
That's probably bad when you're running for the United States Senate.
Zoe.
Zoe.
Okay.
So, Congressman, I won't make you answer this, but I'll just point out the state of the Vance campaign. He accused you on Fox, this is a quote last night, of the following. that you're planning on flooding America with illegal aliens, then using American tax dollars to fund gender reassignment surgeries
what an idiot.
for
Did he
those
really
aliens.
say
Yeah,
this?
that's a quote.
How stupid does he think people are?
As many people have pointed out, that's almost a direct ripoff from a parody that was on Succession when they were mocking that kind of rhetoric. But we'll put that to the side. You did go in this week, Congressman, and do a town hall on Fox News. You talked about the economy, but you also talked about the state of the democracy. You got some boos for some of the things you said, but you stood your ground and said you can watch the tape. We know what happened on that day as cops were beaten up. Let's talk about some of those voters you went on Fox News to speak to, some of those Republicans who may have voted for Donald Trump twice but don't want to go along for the ride with J.D. Vance any further here. Do you think you can capture a bunch of them?
Yeah, no doubt. Needless to say, we had a lot of people telling us, don't go do the Fox News town hall. You shouldn't go there. It's not going to be on the level, which, of course, we knew that. But it was an opportunity. And I'm half Irish, too, Willie. So there's the old Irish saying, is this a private fight or can anyone get into it? So we were down with going in there. And the reality is you have that group of people that you know, they're election deniers. They're continuing to boo at people who say January 6th really happened. All of the insanity, the book banning, the national abortion ban, like that segment. But there are a lot of good people who may have voted for Trump for other reasons, but aren't into all that other stuff. And I want to make sure that we get a chance for them to, they get a chance to hear my message. I am not trying to further bring more hate into this country, more anger, more fear. We need more love. We need more compassion. We need more concern for each other. And those people are looking for a place to go. And your previous segment where you were talking about the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Look, I have tremendous support from workers, but there's no way you can't work with the business community. You can be hostile to greed. You can be hostile to concentration of wealth, right? You can be hostile to income inequality. You can't be hostile to business. How are we going to develop the technologies to reverse climate change? How are we going to build the industries of the future if we're not working with the business community? And I want those people to know that. Maybe we agree 5 out of 10 times, but my door is going to be open whether you vote for me or not. And you have to go there. And we've got more commentary about just having the guts to go into that place, you know, going into the lion's den. You score points with people because you got guts and you stand your ground. So it was a character test more than it was about any particular issue. And we came out of there, you know, pretty strong. And J.D. Vance, I mean, the questions they were asking him, they were like, J.D., we've got a tough one for you. How do you spell J.D.? And that was like, oh my God, I'm watching him go. It's like, it's insane.
So, Congressman, it's Jen Palmieri. Good to see you. I think I'm coming out to see you on Monday. If you win, this means Republicans are voting for you. And, you know, I was out there a couple weeks ago with you, and I saw, you know, I talked to some Republicans who are going to do that. Is it about, I mean, is it a gut level thing with them that, like, this guy is Ohio, this guy is for me, or are there issues that they feel like the Republicans are not answering? But what is it that people say when Republicans say that they're willing to support you? What's it about?
They're good people. You know, they're good people, and they watch J.D. Vance, and he's running around with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He brought in Ted Cruz. He brought in Lindsey Graham. You know, he's running around with Donald Trump Jr., and we know what Donald Trump Jr. was posting after Mr. Pelosi had that tragedy happen to him. And I think average Ohioans who may be a moderate Republican are looking at this guy and they're saying, no way. No way are you going to spend the next 6 years in the United States Senate representing Ohio, running around with Donald Trump Jr., who has zero class, zero grace, right? Zero compassion, torch in the joint, and they're just not going to do it. I'm telling you, like, it could be a moderate Republican in suburban Columbus who's also concerned about choice and gun safety and the environment and these other things. But it's also, you know, it's also working class folks down the Ohio River who may have voted for Trump a couple times, may be Republican. They're not into the whole culture war thing. They like me, and they're like, this guy's not our people. He's not Ohio. We need an ass kicker, not an ass kisser. And they know the whole thing with Donald Trump. And those people watched what happened to him in Youngstown when Trump emasculated the guy, you know, on the stage in Youngstown. And J.D. Vance got 10 minutes later, he gets back up on the stage, goes right to the microphone and says, aren't we having a great time here tonight? Like,
You
that's
know,
not
you know,
Ohio.
Mike.